Hello, YouTube. Russia has many mysteries, but Russian Asia is especially rich in secrets. It's a unique place where various people emerged and huge ancient civilizations arose and then disappeared. For example, here's the mystery of the Omsk aliens. About a decade ago, in the Omsk region on the banks of the Tara River in the area of Murli, archaeologists found 8 graves of Huns who lived 1,500 years ago. The skulls turned out to be elongated in shape, resembling alien humanoids. It is known that ancient people wore bandages to give the skull a certain shape. Scientists wonder what prompted the Huns to change the shape of the skull so much. There is an assumption that the skulls belong to female shamans. Since the find raises many questions, the skulls are not on display, but are stored in special storerooms. It remains to add that the same skulls were found in Peru and Mexico. And now let's travel on to the Khma Cosmodrome or spaceport. In the early 1930s, this harsh Khma region became a place of a kind of shock construction where dozens of concentration camps of the totalitarian socialist state were erected in a short time. And this became a place of many sufferings and death for hundreds of thousands of Soviet people who were imprisoned by the regime for made-up crimes. The construction of one of these institutions was started in the summer of 1932 on the Yukagir Plateau, 120 kilometers northeast of the village Zyryanka. The detachments was formed from the so-called special contingents. That's how they referred to the political prisoners of the socialist regime. Under the supervision of the guards, they felled the forest, the explosives cleared the rocky territory for construction. According to the plan of the nameless architects, the concentration camp was to grow on a strategically advantageous hill, a multi-kilometer rocky plateau, a significant part of which was occupied by a lake. After a series of powerful explosions made by mining engineers, muddy water gushed out of the lake through the gaps formed in the rock. When the bottom of the lake appeared, the civil engineers were genuinely amazed. They saw a cone-shaped ball of the bottom, the surface of which looked like as if cast from a high-strength concrete. The bottom was covered with long whips embedded in concrete and made of an unknown metal like aluminum. It also seemed interesting that in many places on the bottom there were traces of burning, as if someone had worked here with powerful burners. Later, when one of the engineers of that project happened to take part in the construction and then the maintenance of the famous Baikonur Cosmodrome, he discovered a few similar structural elements at that first spaceport of the Soviet cosmonautics or space exploration, and what he saw at the bottom of the lake. And the traces on the concrete table of the Cosmodrome looked very much like the sooty areas of the cone-shaped bowl of the reservoir. The mysterious find was immediately reported to the leadership of the concentration camp construction project, which decided to blow up a strange object and then fill the bottom of the lake with rock, sand, and clay. From the witnesses of that unusual discovery, signed reports were taken not to disclose information about this mysterious Khma spaceport. By the way, in my book, Russia's USO Secrets, co-written with Phil Mantle from the United Kingdom, I described efforts of the local KGB officer who collected information about very interesting UFO sightings and landings in the area. That was over 60 years ago. His efforts were spurned and ridiculed by Soviet newspapers that he sent photos and his reports to. As you can see, the situation is very similar to the one in the West at the time. Now let's move on to a very interesting cave. Is the Denisovan man the ancestor of the Australian Aborigines? In 2010, during archaeological excavations in the Denisovskaya cave in the Altai, a phalanx of a finger belonging to a 7-year-old girl who lived 40,000 years ago. It was discovered at that time. Half of the found bone was sent to the Institute of Anthropology in Leipzig. In addition, various tools and ornaments were found in the cave. After conducting a genome study, scientists were shocked by the results. It turned out that the bone belongs to an unknown human species, which was named Homo altaiensis, or the Altai man. DNA tests have shown that the genome of the Altai man differs from the genome of modern man by 11.7%, while in the Neanderthal, this deviation is 12.2%. The Altai inclusions were not found in the genomes of modern Eurasians, but the genes of the Altaiensis were found in the genome of Melanesians living in the Pacific Islands. From 4 to 6% of the genome is present in the genome of the Australian Aborigines. Now, I'm going to talk about a very unusual ancient people. Where did the Sargatians or Sargatians disappear to? Siberian archaeologists are looking for an answer to the question, where did the ancient Sargatians disappear? Their kingdom stretched from the Urals to the Barabinsk steppes and from Tyumen to the steppes of Kazakhstan. There is an assumption that Sargatia was part of the ancient Sarmatia or Sarmatia and existed for more than 1,000 years and then vanished, leaving behind only mounds. Scientists believe that there is a special area of Sargatia in the Omsk region, that's in Siberia. I believe it's called the Graves of the Ancestors. At the beginning of the 20th century, a whole complex was opened or discovered called Novoobolonsky. The burrows of Sargatia were up to 100 meters in diameter and reached a height of 8 meters. In the graves of the nobility, clothing made of Chinese silk with gold ornaments were found. The Sargatians were gold hrivnia around their neck. DNA studies have revealed their similarity to the Hungarians and to the Ugrians. No one knows where the Sargatians disappeared to. Unfortunately, many graves were looted by grave robbers back in the 18th century. By the way, the famous Siberian collection of Peter the Great was made up of the Sargatian gold. Now let's travel to a very interesting pyramid, the Salic pyramid. The Salic mound is located in the famous Valley of the Kings in Khakassia and dates back